automations ever, right?
Oh, absolutely. Schools, universities, even corporate training, everything just suddenly shifted online, almost overnight.
Yeah, out of sheer necessity.
It did. And while that, kept things moving, it also shone a really bright light on some, let's say, uncomfortable cracks in the traditional system.
Like what specifically?
Well, things like high dropout rates, students feeling totally disengaged, and that really frustrating, rigid, one-size-fits-all curriculum that honestly leaves a lot of learners behind.
Exactly. For a while there, digital learning just meant, what, putting the textbook on a screen? Maybe a video lecture?
Pretty much passive stuff. But what our sources are really pointing towards now is something way beyond that, a real solution.
And that's these AI-powered education platforms we're talking about today. The idea is truly dynamic, effective learning, not just digital delivery.
That's the core shift. What's fascinating is how the tech is moving us away from just passive content delivery towards these genuinely interactive, personalized experiences.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack that, how AI actually enables this personalized learning, adaptive assessments, intelligent tutoring.
And critically, how it changes the role of the educator in all of this. Because it really does.
Okay, let's dig in, starting right at the foundation. What exactly are these new AI platforms, and how are they fundamentally different from, say, the old school learning management systems, the LMS, that most educators have been using for, what, a decade or more?
Yeah, good question. The main difference is really function and focus. A traditional LMS, primarily focuses on things like storing content, letting students submit assignments, maybe calculating grades.
So like a digital filing cabinet in Calendar, basically?
That's a pretty good way to put it, yeah. It's functional but limited.
Okay, so how do the AI platforms move beyond that?
Well, AI platforms are laser-focused on personalization, on adaptive feedback, really digging into student behavior analysis, and a lot of automation.
And they use specific technologies to do that?
Exactly. They use things like machine learning, natural language processing, NLP as their sort of core engine.
Okay, break that down a bit. Machine learning, what's its role here?
So machine learning is constantly analyzing student progress. It looks at their pace, their accuracy on questions, the patterns in their learning, and it uses that to predict future performance trends.
Wow. So it could potentially know if I'm about to, say, struggle with a key concept in calculus, maybe weeks before I even realize it.
That's the idea, yeah. Powerful predictive insight.
Okay.
And that insight then powers what we call the adaptive engines. This is really the critical piece that makes AI different.
How so?
Because the adaptive engine adjusts the pace and the difficulty of the lessons based on that real-time data it's collecting from the learner. It's constantly tweaking things to make sure you're getting the right challenge at the right time.
Right, that real-time adjustment. It feels like it could fundamentally remove some of the, the shame of failure. You're not just falling behind the whole class.
Exactly. The system just adapts. It gives you a different path, maybe some remediation, maybe a different angle on the material to help you succeed.
That's a big shift in mindset.
It really is. And the research backs it up. This kind of adaptive learning, the data shows it can improve student outcomes by up to 30% compared to the traditional fixed methods.
30%, that's substantial.
It is. And we see this in action with platforms like Squirrel AI or Newton Alta. They're constantly adjusting difficulty based on how the student is doing right then and there.
Okay, so that covers the personalized pacing and difficulty. But what about the sort of human element, the tutoring side? That's where other tech comes in.
Precisely. That's where natural language processing, or NLP, really shines. It's powering things like conversational AI tutors.
Like chatbots that can teach.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
But getting quite sophisticated. Take Khan Academy's Khanmigo, for example. It acts as an AI tutor that can assist students step by step through problems, giving hints, asking guiding questions, but importantly, without just giving away the answer.
Okay.
And at the same time, it can also help teachers with things like lesson planning and some administrative tasks. It's positioned as a co-pilot, not a replacement for the teacher.
A co-pilot. I like that framing. That's a fantastic example of personalized support delivered at scale.
Exactly.
All right, so speaking of scale and effectiveness, let's maybe move past just the underlying tech and look at the results. What are the measurable, quantifiable gains here? For students, obviously, but also for teachers, who we know are facing serious burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have some pretty striking metrics from the sources that really make the case for moving beyond that passive digital learning model.
Okay.
When you compare traditional methods to AI-powered adaptive learning, The data on key student success metrics just jumps significantly.
Give us the numbers. Let's hear them.
Okay, so student retention rate, it jumps from around 50%, 50% traditionally, up to 75% with AI platforms.
Wow. Okay. Big jump.
Huge jump. Student satisfaction sees a similar rise from about 62% traditionally to 84% with AI.
Also very positive.
But maybe the most critical metric here is the completion rate, actually finishing the course or program.
Right. What happens there?
That goes from just 45% traditionally way up to 72% with AI.
Hold on. A 27-point jump in completion rate.
27 points, yeah.
That's massive. I mean, that's the difference between, sinking funding into courses that students just drop out of versus actually successfully producing graduates and skilled workers.
Exactly. It's really compelling proof that this personalization, it works. It makes learning feel more inclusive, more effective, keeps people engaged.
It sounds like proof that students who feel supported, they actually stick with it.
That's a huge part of it. And that support piece is heavily driven by what the sources call intelligent tutoring.
So the AI tutors we mentioned.
Yeah, those chatbots and virtual tutors. They provide support 24/7.
Yeah.
And importantly, it's judgment-free support. Students can ask basic questions, get hints, have difficult steps explained, even when a human teacher simply isn't available, late at night or on weekends.
That 24/7 availability is key. I can see how that applies everywhere. Language learning comes to mind immediately.
Absolutely. A great example is Duolingo. They started using GPT-4 for role-playing and conversational practice.
Okay.
And they found that 78% of users felt more confident having real conversations in the language within just 4 weeks.
78%.
Yep.
Just from practicing with AI.
Yeah, because that instant low-stakes practice environment is just revolutionary for building confidence.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to make mistakes with the AI.
That makes total sense. Okay, so huge benefits for students. Now, let's pivot, like you said, to the educators. The teachers dealing with burnout. How does AI help them?
This is where the impact is maybe even more profound in some ways. AI essentially tackles a lot of the grunt work through automated admin and grading, meaning for objective items, multiple choice, fill in the blanks, that sort of thing. The AI can handle the grading instantly. It can even draft initial feedback for more subjective work, build question banks for quizzes, compile progress reports.
Okay, taking a lot off their plate. How much time are we actually talking about saving here? Is it significant?
The sources suggest it's very significant. They confirm this automation can reduce the total teacher workload, specifically the administrative and repetitive grading tasks, by 40% or more.
40%. 40! That's essentially like getting a full day back each week, isn't it?
Pretty much. It's a massive reclaiming of time.
Okay. But AI doesn't just grade the past work, right? You mentioned prediction earlier. Tell us about predictive analytics and how that helps teachers.
Right. That's where the strategic power really lies for the teacher. Tools are emerging, like school AI, for example, that offer dashboards.
Dashboards showing what?
Dashboards that flag students who are likely to struggle or disengage or even potentially fail sometimes weeks before it actually happens, based on their interaction patterns, their progress, their time on task.
So the system gives the teacher an early warning signal.
Exactly. It allows the educator to intervene early with targeted human support before that student hits a crisis point. It enables proactive teaching, not just reactive.
So the teacher's role shifts dramatically. They're not just checking boxes or chasing late assignments anymore.
Not nearly as much. Their time shifts away from those repetitive, often tedious tasks towards the most impactful human parts of the job.
Which are?
High-level coaching, mentorship, fostering deeper discussions, building connections with students, identifying specific needs, basically focusing on the human interaction side of teaching.
They're freed up to actually teach in the deeper sense, perhaps.
Precisely. They can observe more, coach more, facilitate deeper learning, even have more time to create more engaging, creative lesson materials.
Okay, this is making sense. Speaking of tools, let's bring this down from the sort of theoretical level to the practical. What specific, maybe recognizable tools are already out there, sitting on the laptops of students and teachers right now, reshaping how things work across different sectors, K-12, higher ed, corporate training?
Yeah, definitely. Many of these tools are becoming quite embedded in daily academic life now. Take writing, for instance.
Okay.
Grammarly for education. Most people know Grammarly, but the education version is now much more than just a spell checker.
Right. It does grammar, style.
Exactly. Grammar, clarity, tone. It even flags potential issues with originality or plagiarism.
So students learn to write more clearly, faster.
And teachers save a significant amount of time not having to correct basic mechanics that frankly, a machine can handle perfectly well.
Okay, that's writing. What about studying?
For personalized study, you've got tools like Quizlet. They have this feature called Magic Notes.
Magic Notes, what's
Yeah.
that?
You can basically feed it your lecture notes, and it automatically creates things like flashcards and practice tests from them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the really smart part is it intelligently adapts the review focus. It hones in specifically on the areas where the student is weakest based on their practice results.
That is pure personalization applied directly to self-study time. That's clever.
Very clever.
Yeah.
And then we also see tools designed explicitly to support the educator's workload, that admin piece we talked about.
Like what?
Tools like Magic School AI. This platform offers something like, I think it's over 60 different AI tools specifically designed for teachers.
60 tools. What do they do?
Everything from helping draft lesson plans, creating personalized learning objectives for students with specialized plans like IEPs, to even drafting newsletters to send home to parents.
Okay, so really tackling those time-consuming admin tasks head on.
Exactly, trying to give teachers back that time.
But let's pivot slightly here. If AI saves all this time on let's call them mechanical tasks, the grammar checking, the basic grading, the flashcard making, what does the student gain in the long run? What about those durable life skills that are going to matter 5, 10 years down the line?
That's a crucial question. And the argument is they gain the skills that truly matter long-term. The durable skills.
Because the AI handles the basics.
Precisely. The time AI saves on basic remediation, on drilling facts, allows teachers and the curriculum to focus much more intensely on fostering things like critical thinking, complex problem solving.
Higher order thinking skills.
Exactly. And collaboration, too, through things like more sophisticated peer review processes facilitated by AI, or more complex team projects where AI might manage some logistics.
And presumably, just using these tools builds a skill in itself. Digital fluency.
Absolutely critical. Students are naturally learning prompt design, how to ask the AI the right questions. They're learning how to read and interpret the data outputs from AI systems, how to evaluate AI-generated content critically.
And crucially, maybe even starting to think about AI ethics.
That has to be part of it. Understanding how these tools work, where they might fail, the ethical implications.
Yeah.
These are fundamental skills for operating the modern workforce and society.
It's clear why institutions are investing them.
Well, massively. This isn't some niche anymore. The global AI in education market, the projections are just staggering. It's expected to skyrocket from around, $7.5 billion this year?
Okay.
To over $112 billion by 2034.
Wow. Billion with a B.
Billion with a B. That kind of growth tells you that institutions worldwide are betting heavily on AI integration. They see it as a fundamental necessity for the future of learning, not just some optional add-on.
That potential is clearly enormous. But, and there's always a but, we need to introduce the necessary counterbalance here. Despite all this promise, what are the really critical ethical, logistical challenges facing widespread AI adoption? What's stopping these technologies from being in every single classroom tomorrow?
Yeah, the challenges are significant, and we absolutely need to address them. Our sources were clear on the top obstacles. The biggest concern, the one topping the list consistently, is data privacy.
Makes sense.
These AI systems, by their nature, collect just massive amounts of sensitive student data, learning patterns, scores, interaction times, potentially even biometric data down the line.
And that requires incredibly strong safeguards. You're talking about compliance with things like GDPR in Europe, FERPA, COPPA in the US.
Exactly those. Those are the crucial regulatory frameworks already in place to protect student records and data privacy. Ensuring compliance with these rules is complex, it's expensive, and it definitely slows down rapid universal adoption.
And cost itself is another major barrier, right?
Right.
Especially for public institutions or less wealthy districts.
Absolutely. Cost barriers are a huge factor. The high setup costs, the ongoing maintenance, the need for specialized training, it limits access significantly for underfunded schools.
Which feeds right into the next big problem.
The digital divide, exactly. Unequal access to reliable internet, to suitable devices, and equally important, unequal access to the digital literacy training needed for both students and teachers to actually use these tools effectively.
So if the technology isn't accessible to everyone, it could actually end up worsening existing inequalities, not fixing them.
That's the real danger. It could exacerbate the gap between the haves and have-nots if we're not incredibly careful about equitable deployment.
And then there's the technology itself, the hidden danger within the algorithms, algorithmic bias.
Yes, this is a key ethical challenge. If these powerful tools are going to guide the learning paths of millions of students, we have to be sure they are fair.
How does the bias creep in?
It often comes down to the training data used to build the AI model. If that data is biased, maybe it disproportionately represents certain socioeconomic groups or racial groups or even genders, then the AI system will unintentionally learn and perpetuate those biases.
Can you give an example?
Sure. There have been documented cases, for instance, with automated essay scoring systems. Some have shown biases where they might inadvertently flag writing styles more commonly associated with certain demographics as being lower quality, not because of the content, but because of subtle linguistic patterns the AI picked up from biased training data.
That's deeply concerning. So we need rigorous auditing, human oversight.
Absolutely. Rigorous auditing of algorithms for bias, transparency in how they work, and always keeping human judgment firmly in the loop, especially for high-stakes decisions. The AI should assist, not command.
Okay. All these challenges, privacy, cost, equity, bias, it must feed into some resistance from teachers themselves, right? I can imagine many educators worrying, maybe understandably, about AI simply replacing their human roles entirely.
That concern is definitely out there. Teacher resistance is real. But the research and the perspective across nearly all our sources is actually very clear and consistent on this point.
No.
AI is not here to replace teachers. Full stop. It is designed to be a partner. Its ultimate purpose is to amplify teachers, to augment their capabilities.
So freeing them from certain tasks to let them focus on others.
Precisely. When you look across all the evidence, the most powerful realization is this definitive shift in the teacher's future role. It's not about elimination, it's about evolution.
What does that future role actually look like then, if AI handles more of the routine stuff?
Teachers increasingly become coaches and designers of learning experiences. They are freed from the more repetitive administrative tasks. The basic diagnostic testing, grading multiple choice quizzes, managing simple differentiation logistics,
Wow.
to focus intensely on the skills and interactions that machines simply cannot replicate, fostering creativity, providing nuanced, empathetic feedback, building strong student relationships, cultivating critical thinking through discussion, providing motivation and encouragement. The human stuff.
The deeply human elements of teaching.
Exactly. That becomes the core focus.
Okay. So just to kind of recap this whole deep dive then. The main takeaway seems to be that AI in education, it really is the future, isn't it? It offers a genuinely smarter, potentially more inclusive, and definitely more engaging way to learn.
Yeah, by delivering those personalized learning paths, that instant 204/7 support, it meets learners where they are.
And it unlocks that precious teacher time, boosts those measurable success rates, completion, retention.
Absolutely. The potential upside is enormous.
But the path forward requires real care.
Yes, it absolutely requires careful management of data privacy, real transparency in how the algorithms work, and a relentless focus on ensuring equitable access. We cannot let this technology widen the existing gaps.
If we navigate those challenges thoughtfully,
then the opportunities to genuinely improve learning outcomes for literally every student are just boundless. It's an exciting, if complex, time for education.
it really is. And this brings us, I think, to our final thought for you, the listener, to sort of mull over after this discussion. Our sources repeatedly emphasized AI's growing ability to automate much of the differentiation, the grading, the diagnostic testing, the mechanics of teaching, if you will. So the question becomes, if AI successfully handles more and more of that administrative and mechanical load, what new, perhaps previously unimagined, deeply human forms of teaching focused entirely on fostering creativity, building empathy, providing motivation, sparking curiosity, what will those look like? And how will they define the truly most effective educators of the future?